Hello, this is Ron Nutter with one of the last interviews from Cisco Live, but it is not the least by any means. For those that have followed Wendel Odom over the years, he generally, if it can be written down, he's going to have it in a book, and it's one of the best references out there, even if you've gone beyond CCNA level. If it's in the book, even if you don't see it on the test, it's something that you should be aware of. So this was definitely a treat for me. I have met Odom in the past when I was writing for a national publication, but we'd kind of gone our separate paths over the years. But to see him again, especially in light of the changes that are rolling out the door here in just a little over a month for CCNA, and this is going to be almost throwing the kitchen sink at it from the syllabus I've seen so far. And with the way that networks are changing, I think it's justifiable that a lot of these changes are coming about. Even if you don't see them on the exam that you may take, still having this as a reference book, much like the portable command line guides that I've already talked about, are something that really would be a good addition to your library, because you may not need it today, you may not need it tomorrow, but there's going to be a time when you will find it very handy to be able to pull that information up at a moment's notice. So enough of that. Let's go see what Odom had to say for the CCNA changes for this year. And this is another edition of Tech Advice with Ron Nutter. It wouldn't be a Cisco Live unless we had Wendel Odom here. And almost didn't catch him, but with the changes that are occurring with the CCNA exam, Wendel, you go back several iterations. I mean, you've been writing the book since just about got started.
Yeah.
With the changes that are coming through, I mean, it seems like this time Cisco has literally thrown the kitchen sink at the exam.
Yeah, well, you can imagine the challenge they have, figuring out what to put in, what to not put in, what to leave in CCNP route switch, what to assume is prerequisite. And I think you could probably start with the idea that they've upped the prerequisite assumption, right? If you look maybe back 10 years ago, they just assumed that people came in knowing very little. And now they're like, the average person probably does know something about IP addressing, for instance. So they're just saying, well, if you already know a little more, because this generation has grown up knowing about devices and setting up their own home network.
Just don't ask them about dial-up.
Right. Well, dial's gone. No, I don't think the word modem's in my books anymore. Can you believe that?
Oh.
Us older guys thinking about, so they've ramped up what goes past that. And there's that tendency to say, well, if you add something new, what can you take out? So, my books have grown in size to match the growth and the content over the years. It's a big lift, so it's a hard thing to
One of the things that I noticed when I went over the book is, if for a while they were just going, okay, now you know about IPv6, and here's some little addressing things you kind of need to be aware of. But it seems now they're taking it much more past that, almost what I would consider maybe an NP level knowledge of what you got to kind of get into the guts of it a little bit.
Yeah, it's first off, what they give us are the exam topics. So a reasonable person like you or I looked at the exam topics and said, well, what does that mean? Yeah, absolutely, I would agree with you. It's addressing, it's routing protocols, but it's not depths of it. So how different is that from NP IPv6? Yeah, I've seen people online say, it seems like it's crept a little too close to CCNP's IPv6 coverage, but hey, guess what? They'll probably rev CCNP route switch one day, and who knows how deep that will be. So they don't rev them concurrent, CCNP and CCNA. So there's always going to be this comparison of the two, and it's always going to be in flux. And sometimes they'll say, there's too big of a chasm between the two. Now it's too close. So it's just natural ebb and flow of how they develop.
Well, and if you start working with the Internet of Things, especially your utility, where some of the devices coming down the pipe only support IPv6.
Right.
So that's another reason to have to know about it.
Yes, so the motivation is there. They've had a little IPv6 in it for the last couple of versions of the exams, and I think they're just a little more serious about it because of things like IoT. And, we've lived through the whole IPv6 will be here this year thing for, 20 years now. And, hey, it'll be here this year. And then we can come back next year and we'll talk about how it'll be here this year.
Then we're working on IPv8.
Right.
What, with the way the book has grown in size, some people used to think, and at one point for some exams, not Cisco I will point out, you could read the book and go take the test. With all the material that's being added, what is a reasonable expectation of the amount of time somebody's going to need to think about putting in for study?
That's a good question. I don't know that I've come up with an hour figure. But in the past, it's been about 125 hours for a median person. And I don't say average because let's take somebody who has no IT background at all. That's going to be more for sure. But if you take the median person, it's probably someone who's at least a hobbyist type. They do more than use their phone, for instance. They like doing things on their computer. That's traditionally been about 125 hours spent for ICND 1, 125 hours spent for ICND 2, and if you're going after the single exam path, you can take an exam that covers both. Just add those together. There's very little time savings going for the single exam versus the two exam path.
And then if you have no experience, like you've never really dealt with IPv6, okay, you better add some more hours because you may want to do some research outside of the book to kind of help get a perspective on things.
Right. There's tons of terminology. So every time, imagine you read something and you read a page and you found 4 new terms. They may be defined, but eventually your short-term memory, you're just not, you're not absorbing the next thing you read. So you're going to have to go at a slower pace to start absorbing. And just on that point, one thing I found interesting, a lot of the new topics are in ICND2. The glossary in ICND2 grew by 35% in length, just from new terminology.
Oh boy.
So it's just, that just takes time to absorb, and so it becomes natural, so you can then learn the big concept behind the term. So, yeah, you need to sink in and think, I'm going to be here a while, and take your time, and come up with a good study plan. You don't just jump in and read a bit and pass, as you said. You need to expect to spend some time.
Well, Wendel, I know you got a line of people waiting for you because you just, nobody likes you at the show at all, so it's... Thank you very much for your time, sir, and good luck with the book. And I know it's helped me over the years.
I appreciate that, man. Thanks so much.
Well, that was a good conversation with Odom. He's always been a pleasure to talk to whenever our paths happened to cross. So if you weren't able to get your own copy of the CCNA Routing Switch Official Certification Library, then your next best bet is you can use the link at the bottom of this screen, www.ronnutter.com/Odom 2016. That's ODOM 2016, and you can get a copy purchased today. That is an affiliate link, so I will get a little bit of money out of that one, and all that does is it doesn't change the price of what you pay for the book. It simply helps offset the cost I have for the equipment that I bought to do these videos and to get this information out to you. Appreciate your time, and we will see you again soon.